Fuck how out-of-towners view the shot. I'm out west where every conflict crucial is do or die. If it's war, it's gonna be to the death. It's you or I. I come at peace, but if you touch my body, that's suicide. And my bloodline is niggas that'll kill and move a pie. I got a QP and sold it to my mans that you arrive. My pop told me, just get through high school, then you decide. In the shy, it's the six to the fan. Choose a side, move and slide. The city don't wanna see you with shit. From politicians to the preachers, hard to see who legit. Sell some seed for you to see green and piece you to fit. It's I am God and the God green who's seeing this shit. Let's go. If you think it's love here, then pump your brakes. This the wild onion, that dark ass city that love to hate.
Okay,
let's go.
Show off. I'm from a land where the text go off. Them gang signs thrown and the heads broke off. We hate you niggas, cause we gave birth to you ungrateful niggas. So in the 6 feet of earth, it's where we place you niggas. It's barely a secret. We move shit, telekinesis. And box niggas like Chevy Caprices. My stress is post-traumatic. All I see is murders and massacres. Cancer patients and catheters. Fake narrators and savages. No horse and carriages. This funeral's waiting.
This is it. Day one. The red letter edition. Big Luda. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. Before I finish breathing, I'm moving the masses like minister speeches. Penning classics as I finish my thesis. Not a pastor or a preacher, my passion is deeper. Rapper / teacher trying to master the teachings past the sinister streets and moving bags past the police is speeding fast in the evening. The truth is it's all about eating, but I'm feeding food for thought for those either fasting or feasting. Putting faith in my beliefs when I'm speaking. Looking straight till I'm decent at peace with no fear, believing it's real. I tell them it's heaven, but it's hard when you talking to niggas with no ears. From clouds of chronic coughing and sessions off, walking and stressing, straight lost in the essence. I pause for a second with my thoughts and reflections. I take my losses as lessons, but it's all just a blessing, and that's the message. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me. In an instant, friendship seeing quick in the music business. It used to be just music, now it's just business. The relentless pursuit for loot, dividends and interest, hidden agendas, leaving you defenseless against them. Not to mention intentions to benefit from you penning authentic sentences. Shit for the spinach, niggas that did it. Listen, while you scribbling, picturing images of living on premises, surrounded by fences and different women in silky linens, bending and grinning, intended rentals, you slipping, cause these Vicks is out, tricking your chips in. The game's cutthroat, rules was laid back in the day before rappers got paid by sponsors that slung dope. And shit ain't really changed beside the amount of change the game. Famous names so these lames can front, so I change the game. See my future through the blunt smoke so high, looking at my future through the blunt smoke. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, I'm invincible, guarded by two identical, invisible guardian angels that guard every angle of my physical frame. Spiritual miniature ministers whispering, keeping me on the top of my game. Lessons to gain, pleasure and pain. Like my eyes, they reside on the left and right side of my brain. Quietly praying, navigating my aspirations, passing calculated statements while I'm grabbing my flame. Wasted in the basement, pacing, placing words on pages, blazing my merch to the face. I'm blowing life in the air. I sold my soul to the Lord for a price of a prayer. Yeah, so my nights can be clear when I sit still, writing his will in his likeness, like him, cause I'm knowing he'll save me. He told me to spit and don't let the devil take the gifts that he gave me. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me. Hey, one. Yes, sir, I like how that sound right there, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of inspirational. It's like everybody got a goal. They're trying to reach or alive. They're trying to live, man. Be bumps in the road. You gotta keep pushing forward. You know what I'm saying? If it don't kill you, it make you strong. You know what I'm saying? My story right here. Yeah. It takes a special kind of mind to grind and work from the bottom and climb up the ladder of success in time. It doesn't matter what the test is. Every step is another level till I step in as the next in line. No question. I'm considered one of the best. My whole life invested in holding mics and sketching rhymes. You guessed it. I'm on mine, still restless. Yes, even pressed up my records on my own dime. As many battles I blew breath in and open mics I blessed. I'll never be labeled an overnight success. Passing out CDs, doing shows for free. Then dabbing Bo to eat so that my soul could speak over these soulful beats that's so cold to me. Like the breeze in the shower, we be posted deep. All the prices that I paid and sacrifices I made, it'll all come to life one day, someday. Patient, man, bumps the road ain't nothing. Rotate, doesn't stop, no. Check it out, look, I remember it like yesterday, trying to get my record played at a radio station where they play hits for days, having a conversation with this lady I'm facing while she making a statement made for me. She said, look, it's too many words in your hook, you need to work on your look. For what it's worth, I never took her words personal, but at first I wasn't certain though if she knew my words are personal and not just verses and books. Until the curtain closes, this is my version of what I know, learning in first person till I blow, and still I know how it feels to know I'm the deal. Did you still feel like a deal is just right, or a deal just might still add to my appeal? But they won't know I'm real till I touch my first million, right? I'ma chill till my bars is felt and play my hand with the cards I'm dealt, and that's the plan till it's solved itself. Shop music without lots of loot to maneuver and make moves with, so I stay in tune with my pursuit. Fuck trying to recoup, I'm trying to juke and move units. The truth is I'm used to excuses dudes give, like you can do what I do, food and prove it. Walk in my shoes then, I'm used to goofy producers and cools that try to misuse you quick. Why you got it confused? If you think it's about groupie chicks and interviews in a mix, it ain't got ghouly, but I truly got the tools to overcome obstacles, including this music biz. I'ma shine like jewels, unlike these Rubik's Cube dudes with all this woo-woo-woo when they spit. Mick Luda is the future, so get used to this. It's day one, not a crew or clique. It's a new beginning.
Why we shine wherever we go. 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 Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy, so even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
Great afternoon to you wonderful people. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of I Said What I Said. We are live from inside the What's In It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Toussaint Werner. My name is Herb Howard. Each and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 3 p.m., we get together right here with you, and we discuss issues that are currently impacting the black community, how those issues impact us as individuals, but also how they impact us as a collective, and along with your help, we talk through many of these issues in hopes of finding the optimum solutions for how we can overcome said issues. Again, We want to overcome them as individuals, but perhaps more importantly, we want to overcome them as a collective. So thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. As always, your input is extremely valued. It is certainly appreciated. Anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. We will read through as many of your comments as possible while we go through the show. We would kindly request that y'all please take a quick second to share the broadcast. Share it on your personal page. Share it even within your personal network with absolutely anyone that you think would add value to or find value in this particular conversation. We welcome them to be a part of it because we feel like the more like-minded individuals we can get to be a part of it, the better the opportunities we have of reaching those aforementioned solutions. So please, 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 if you would be so kind, share the broadcast. Again, this is I Said What I Said. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb. His name is Two. We're twinning.
Yay!
What's happening, good brother?
Man, I want to say blessed and highly favored, but today I'm pretty stupid and dumb.
Stupid and dumb?
Stupid and dumb is pretty much all I
That's where you at with it today?
Yeah, man. So salute to Sadiq and No Animal April, right?
Okay.
So I've been on the No Animal April
You
shit.
have been.
And true story, like my hip ain't been hurting at all.
Hey, Sadiq said that though.
He said that.
He
and
said
I ain't had no
it
pain
didn't
at
make
all.
sense to me when he said it. He was like, hey, if you stop eating the bullshit, you won't be in pain. I'm like,
But I'm too stupid to just appreciate good health.
the plant's gonna treat the pain?
So
what you do?
You know, I did some true to form Tucson stupidity.
Fucking
right?
rode your bike to
So
Manhattan.
yesterday we had a good day. It was great weather.
Oh my.
Right now I was running all day. I got up with you early. Had to
Yeah.
run from there, do some other shit. And then Eric had practice at like 7.
Yeah.
So my day was done. I don't get the bike today.
Right.
Right.
But
But I was like, fuck that. I'm getting the bike.
I get to bike.
I get the bike, right? So Eric's practice, North Avenue, right? His practice is on North Avenue. So I say stink.
So we had a meeting on 95th. Now you on North Avenue?
So listen,
Okay.
I call him, I say, stink. I don't want to miss this weather. I want to enjoy it. Hey, get your bike together. We're going to ride to your practice, right? So listen. That's light. We do that. He could do it. He young, he athlete.
Yeah, he could do it. That ain't the point. We ain't talking about
So-
him. We talking about you.
So look, we do it. We on the lake and it's beautiful. But the minute we hit downtown, like the minute, G, that temperature dropped from whatever it was to not that.
Pause. G. That was the most extreme temperature change that I've ever experienced in my life.
It was ridiculous.
I've lived in Chicago my whole life. I know how we can have every season in a single day. But what I experienced yesterday was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I've never felt the temperature drop in the instant. Like usually you might be outside and you be like, you kind of look up a few hours later like, oh, it didn't got chilly out here. But the exact moment when it was a beautiful, it was 85 degrees.
Bruh.
One breeze came through and it was 55 fucking degrees.
Man, let me tell you something.
Instantly, bro.
I was
me-
sitting at the lake when that happened.
I was at a park
With
watching
shorts
my
and
nephew play
t-shirts on.
baseball, G. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Look, it was like this for me. We crossed Chicago Avenue. It was 80 degrees all the way to Chicago Avenue. Once you pass Chicago Avenue, it was 0 below. Instantly, you understand me?
Hey, that was weird as hell, G.
Like we had to stop on the ride. Like, hold on, man, I got to put my hoodie on. It's freezing out here, right? So we go to the workout, but I'm still feeling good. So this is where I get extra dumb.
Extra dumb.
I say I could do their workout with them.
Hello, Yolanda Wilson. What's going on?
And I did their workout with them, and that was the dumbest thing I possibly
Wait,
could.
you did the basketball workout
I
too?
did the basketball workout with them, right? So and I was doing pretty good throughout the joint.
what's
But
wrong
one of the
with
workouts with them was jumping rope. So we jumped rope, brother. When I tell you it took me 25 minutes to get up to your studio stairs,
Stupid, man. Just
I'm hurting. I'm hurting so
stupid,
bad.
man.
But it was fun. It was worth it. You know what I'm
My
saying?
brother Dad said it was 85 out south, 54 up north on the lake. I was on 83rd and Vincennes. I was at the field, the baseball field's right behind Simeon.
Mm-hmm.
And this game started at like 7:30. It is absolutely beautiful outside. Okay, 7:30 p.m. It is fucking beautiful. Pull up, my man's out there, all these parents, all these kids out there. The baseball game and setup is going on. My man got the grill set up, got a cooler with some beers and whatnot in it. It's everything is perfect. One breeze came through that joint, and everybody was like, "Yo, what the hell was that?" You thinking like, okay, it's gonna be one breeze and then it's gonna go ahead and pass. No, it was just 55 for the rest of the day. Weird as hell, bro.
Yeah, it was freezing.
I've never experienced nothing like that. That was unique for real.
So part of doing the workout was just trying to stay warm because the workout was outside. You was doing the outside workout. So yeah, but I did it though. But I got back to the crib.
Sadiq say give him 90 days and you will be straight, man.
Yeah, it sound good. I was still in pain.
Yeah, I guess you being stupid.
Now I'm rocking with Sadiq, G. I'm not gonna lie, G. You know how I be struggling with my hip, G. I've been telling you a couple times, like, G, I don't have that pain right now.
Yeah, now you've been telling me for real.
You know?
I had, so when we was first talking about like towards the end of March or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I'm with Sadiq on that, and then it dawned on me that it would be 100% cap for me to pretend I'm gonna do something healthy in April. It's just not a reality for me. Like, it's my birthday and I celebrate the whole month and I be eating bad and drinking a lot and I just like, yeah, let me not even play this game. For the past like 4 or 5 days I've been back on it, but yeah, I was like, nah, let me not even act like I'm about to do this with y'all this month. So I had to concede on that.
On one hand, it's awesome. On the other hand, this was all bad. You know, it's because I get super aggressive. You know what I mean? Once I feel like I can do it, I'm going all the way.
See,
you know what I mean?
See, that's why you got to stay on like an actual regimen that like slowly gets you back. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't.
What kind of fun would that be? I'm a Leo. Fuck all that. There's nothing I can't do.
Heard you.
You know what I mean?
Heard you.
I just deal with the pain. That's part of being a Leo.
Heard
too.
you.
You know what I'm saying?
Heard you.
No pain, no progress.
What part of being Leo is stupid?
No pain, no progress. We just G's about ours. It's different than being stupid.
Viking.
You understand me? You understand me?
Heard you. Sore hip ass. It's an elevator at the other end of the hall. You know that, right? Okay.
I had to walk further just to get to that side. I would do these stairs.
Oh my goodness, that's funny, man. Shout out to the Bigs, man. I was tuned in to On the Soil. If you did not, you need to go back and check them out. The Bigs are always on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. They touched on a lot, man. They touched on the Sox and the Cubs, and you know, people be making excuses for the White Sox all the time. It's like, hey, the White Sox been in this rebuild for like a decade now. Okay, either rebuild this joint or leave it alone. They got a lot of talent now. They should be able to win some games now. They've been dealing with some injuries and whatnot, but people make excuses for the Sox like, oh, it's cold outside. Like, when they get warm, they'll be all right. Like, fam. They play baseball in Chicago. It ain't
always cold.
It's always gonna be cold, fam. Like, you're gonna get you like 2 months, maybe 2.5 months, where you can expect it to be consistently warm at Comiskey. Other than that, y'all gonna play in the cold, fam. It's just what it is. And then if you go deep into the postseason, like you talking about trying to compete for a World Series, you talking about playing late October, November. Like, it's gonna be cold here then too, fam. So stop making excuses for the White Sox, man. They need to get their life together. Let's talk about the Bulls. And I don't know why. They didn't even want to talk about the Bulls. They said they're going to watch the Bulls game tonight just because they played Derrick Rose in the Knicks out in New York. So, but they touched on that rookie that we drafted. Is his name Patrick Williams? I think his name Pat Williams. He trash. I mean, he's not trash. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's not trash. But, you know, he hasn't really – he don't play with a level of aggression that we appreciate in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need a dog out here. Gino asked him at the beginning of the season. He said, "Man, what you looking to do, accomplishing in your rookie year? You know, are you looking at things like rookie of the year, first team all rookie? Are those some goals on your list this year?" And he told Gino, "Nah, I'm not interested in being rookie of the year. Team success is what I'm here for. Boy, if you don't get your goof ass out of here, like you a number 4 pick. I can see if you was the 20th pick or something like that. You the number 4 pick. Rookie of the year conversation is the expectation around here, sir. You are tweaking. Period." So the Bulls, they're going to continue to be huffed forever. And then you got, speaking of the 20th pick, NFL draft is tomorrow. The Bears will blow that. And shout out to my brother Terrence Tomlin for giving me one of those good gut belly laughs. Like, you laugh like from your gut, then be like them good soulful laughs that feel good. Terrence said the Bears might get Justin Fields, the outstanding quarterback, the black quarterback from Ohio State, who put it on Clemson, and Trevor Lawrence was going to be the number 1 pick. For whatever reason, the draft experts continue to say that his stock is falling, Justin Fields, and so he might slip down in the first round and become in range of the Bears. The Bears have the 20th pick. Some people say he might slip as low as like 15 or below. And Terrence said, well, if he slipped that low, the Bears going to trade up and get him. We can get Justin Fields. I laughed so hard in my car, I almost crashed that motherfucker. Okay, like I said, T is
stop it right now.
Stop it right now. Unless that lady fall out tonight, Okay, and we see her in the obituaries in the newspaper tomorrow. The Bears ain't drafting no black quarterback. It ain't happening. Period. Definitely not Justin Fields. It would be dope if they did, though, but that ain't going to happen. I think the Bears are going to draft a tackle, specifically the one from Virginia Tech. He's the one I've been hearing mostly tied to them a lot. I think his name is Darrisaw from Virginia Tech. I think the Bears are going to end up drafting him at number 20. Definitely not trading up to get Justin Fields, but it's enough Chicago sports torture because they all are underwhelming, even the Cubs. I'm a big Cubs fan. I don't really like the Sox.
Man, I've been trying to figure out this conversation. That's why I've been kind of quiet. There's been this backlash behind something that Minister Farrakhan said at the DMX funeral, right? He was like one of the keynotes at the DMX service, and there was a lot of
Gee, how old is the minister? G?
he's 80, 81 or 82
Okay.
at this point.
Okay.
I think, don't quote me. It's 80-something. Let me say that. I know it's 80-something. He looked damn good, though. You know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm
Cancer
just
survivor,
saying.
everything. But
What you say?
Cancer survivor.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I thought you said. Never mind.
Yeah. So, but there was some public backlash, and there's been these all these celebrities like distancing themselves from the words that he said. And I didn't really watch the DMX funeral like
Right.
that, but I keep seeing this backlash pop up in my feed from different sources. So I went back today and Googled the actual.
Now, y'all saying he 88, 82. How old is the man,
I
man?
think he 82. I think 82 is closer to it.
All right.
But I might be off. I don't know. But either way, I go back.
Put it in the Google machine.
I go back and I listen to the speech today, and it is probably the most milk toast ass Farrakhan speech that's ever been posted in the world.
So it was. I mean, relative to his normal energy, you saying it was like real tame, like
It was
docile.
very bland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like,
Milk toast.
I don't get it. You know what I mean?
82, 83. What is wrong? Why are y'all doing this?
87.
87?
I'm going
I'm going with
Salim.
Salim. 87, he'll be 88 on May 11th.
That's
That
Salim.
makes sense
He's
right
87.
there. He's 87, he'll be
Yeah,
88 on May 11th.
That's the facts.
Thank you, King Salim. Honor and respect to you, sir.
But yeah, I'm looking at the speech and I'm like, I don't get it. And just a minute ago, I was Googling to try to figure out what was the backlash. And he mentioned Jesus in the speech a lot. Now, he was mentioning Jesus in the speech in reference to DMX because DMX was a Christian. You know what I mean? Not just because he was a Christian, but I'm assuming that's why Farrakhan leveraged the speech the way he did. But the minister mentioned Jesus all the time, right? He speaks
about between 80 and 90.
But he speaks about Jesus all the time. So apparently the backlash is like anti-Semitic groups, or not anti-Semitic groups, but Jewish groups are saying that he's anti-Semitic. You know, the same. Not
Always.
been
Right.
on him for the last 50 years,
Right.
probably. But they were just appalled by his mentioning of Jesus. At least that's what I'm getting from what I've seen. You know what I mean? And it got me thinking about that video we played maybe last time we was in here, the time before that. The sister was like, it's the difference between black leadership
And
And
leaders of the
blacks.
leaders of blacks, right?
right? And you need to be wary of who's who. You know what I mean? And just looking at the lexicon of the conversation, and I see so many people get so much bullshit off, you know. And the minister is brilliant, right? Like there's no way around
Yeah,
it.
no doubt.
Like,
Ain't no debating that.
you know, his understanding of theology is like, you know, it's next level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not that many people. I would argue there's probably not that many people on the planet who understands theology in the way that he does, and he can articulate it the way he does. But it was nothing in that speech that was kind of like either or. It was kind of like I said, very kind of bland. It was a funeral speech.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if it was reference to anything, it was like, man, black people, get your shit together.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I'm just watching all these black people run from an association with the minister, like high level figures.
Yeah.
And it just puts in perspective to me that, yeah, man, y'all God is capital.
Period.
'Cause that's the only reason you running.
That's the only reason.
Yeah. You don't have no God, bro. Your God lives in your pocket.
That's it. And it manifests itself like in physical form in terms of like proximity or aspirational desire to be next to whiteness. Like that's what it is. And so if it's people that's running away from the minister, if it's President Obama turning his back on Reverend Wright, like it's It's all, you know what I'm saying? That's what y'all be on, and it sends a clear and direct signal that I'm not on your team. Okay, because here's a dude, like him, hate him, love him, whatever. He on our team. Okay, like probably the only as close as we will ever become to even being able to identify who and what our team is. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the dude that y'all want to turn y'all back on and run away from, okay, cool. You've chosen your side.
Set up yet. To get started, download the Google Home app on a phone or tablet.
They fully disrespecting us.
Big Brother is always like listening, and these damn speaker boxes and Alexas and all these that shit.
We mentioned the minister, and then this is how
right
the frequencies
you
work.
are mentioning the minister. Right. You should shut the fuck up. Nah, but yeah, like you clearly identified your team when you do stuff like that, and I think that we just need to take notice of those things and be clear and be honest. Like, oh, okay, cool. These people ain't on our squad, and then just roll. Like we don't really have it. We don't really have it in us no more. The time to really waste to be debating these things or talking about these things. Like, it is what it is. You done chose your side. Cool. Let us rock. Gino, what's up to you, fam? We were just talking about y'all, ran down y'all show. Another dope one as usual on the soil. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more conversation on the other side. This is I Said What I Said. Herb and 2 till 3. We'll be right back.
WIIFTBP.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the green side of things. It's your man, Sadiq.
And Cassiopeia.
Motivated by the days, the sandwiches of spam. Grilled cheese won't stop me from grilling those who are stealing the peace and safety of the community because they releasing death and destruction on the community. A community where the people look like me and them. A place where mama and them stay. Not too far from where their children stay. You right. I want a peaceful neighborhood, and I'm not moving to the suburbs to have a peaceful neighborhood. Do we really have to take this, acting like we don't recognize this, still cooperate with this? You know what? The hell with this. Ram me behind a mic that's shaped like a middle finger, pointing straight up with my middle finger to any poor politician, dealer, deaf, crooked cop, or lazy parent. It's apparent to create change, you have to have a work ethic that make it seem like you lost your brain, standing out like the Willis Tower. It's a brother that represents dedication, discipline, and dream reaching, accompanied by a voice called power. Who rhyming harder than a rebel with the pen? Representing the city of Point Guards is an extra large MC who rhymes always on point, always rhyming with a point behind the flow. One of my students said the rhyme so hard we should stop calling it flow. Let me tell you something else before I go. I was born to stand tall. I was born in Chicago.
That is Brother William Morris. Appreciate you, brother. Much love. Chicago, homegrown. Every Tuesday and Thursday from 1
to 3 p.m. on
What's in It for the Black People Media.
Sissy's Taco Bar Pop-Up is back with more hours and more days. Check them out at their new pop-up location at the Woodlawn, located 1200 East 79th Street. Sissy's Taco Bar offers authentic street tacos infused with international soul. Now every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Woodlawn from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. New vegan tacos have been added to the menu too. Visit sissytacobar.com for more info.
All day. Oh. Whoa. Oh. Whoa. Check it out. Whoa. See, while you was on the corner trying to scrape up pack money, I was driving 80 stack trucks on rap money. I'm back money. If you want it, come to the hundreds and ands for me. Meet them OGs that are blast for me. I'm right here. Ill Adidas, $400 jeans on me. Itchy with no safety, a loaded magazine on me. Southside, that's as wild as it gets. And no, I never sold crack. That's some house nigga shit. I'm not judging, but every man that's a man gotta stand by his principles, and I'm not budging. That's Mickey. You can take it how you want, but you can never be me. You can fake it how you want. I spit that uncut raw. You can bake it how you want. Break it down any way you like, you get the same result. Get in tune. The elephant in the room has now assumed pole position. Whoa. Oh.
Live from the gutter where that butter get gorillas jobs. That's why we call it work. The same work will get a nigga robbed. I throw my dice against the concrete. If the bitches pass, see you later. Grab my paper, tell her they kiss my ass. This the jungle, baby, I'm a lion. Try me, I'll be firing. The same banger saved Private Ryan. You the prey, you survive and hide. Better pray that them vultures and them rovers don't go flying by them. The mother niggas just so-so. How Linda birth a nigga this hot in the cold go? I went from 20-inch assassins on that Osmo to the pretty 760 sitting low on them bozos. Those are big shoes, you motherfuckers is so slow. Get caught without your heat in these streets is a no-no. Baby need Pampers, daddy need that photo. It's bread or nothing, big old niggas, you see the logo.
Welcome back, family. We are live from inside the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Toussaint Werner. My name is Herb Howard. This is I Said What I Said in the production studio. I don't know what he's doing in there, but he's in there. His name is Ron Riller. Ron, what's up, bro?
What's the word, my boys?
Ain't nothing to it, man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm chilling like a villain on the ceiling.
Chilling like
you wrote that?
Villain
on the ceiling.
On the ceiling, man. How you sit on the ceiling?
Trying to catch these niggas slipping.
for the next generation.
Walking down the hill trying to catch these niggas slipping.
There's
catch these
absolutely
niggas slipping.
no hope for the next generation.
He's sitting on the ceiling.
Nah, I'm chilling.
Sitting on the ceiling.
Not on the roof.
Spilling.
On
That's banana pillings.
Dropping banana
Catching
pillings,
niggas
trying to
slipping.
catch these
The
niggas
ceiling is the
slipping.
roof. Looking at.
Say no to drugs, kids. Say
I'm
no to
Gucci, man. I'm
drugs.
Gucci,
It is, too.
y'all. I'm feeling good today.
That's what's up, my brother. I'm glad
Bless
you
your
are
heart.
feeling.
Bless your heart.
Glad you are feeling good.
It's this animal April free stuff, man.
You under that act too?
Yeah, I've been under the act.
Okay.
Yeah, Ron been doing it for real.
Since
You
your
been going
birthday.
shopping and
The
everything.
last time I ate was I ate at your birthday. That was it.
Oh, that food was smacking though.
Yeah, I had to.
It is what it is. Plus, we had to feed the liquor. Like it was open bar. We had it wasn't. That
It was done deal.
yeah,
And
that wasn't
Cassiopeia was done. I'm like, I'm starting tomorrow. Letting you know now.
Yeah. Cassie was at my birthday party?
Yes, drunkard.
Damn. Did I see Cassie at my birthday party?
You probably saw everybody. Probably saw everybody. But look though, man.
Oh wait, before you hop on to that, Adrian made a great point, right? She said that they just dismissed him, talking about the minister. They just dismissed him because they don't want to lose money. People who supported a lot of Trump's questionable remarks stood by him unabashedly. Like, they didn't give a fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is my team. I play for this team. So if somebody on my team is wilding, then they just wilding. But I'm still on this team. We're gonna stand right next to him. Like, yeah, no. Now, privately, you know, we've heard like some of the Democrats say, you know, in private, you know, some of the Republicans or whatever would be like, yeah, no, dude, crazy as hell. But publicly, they was all playing for their team and perfectly aligned with the agenda. We don't do that.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
But we cowards won, and our alignment is to capital, right? And there's a lot of confusion out there, and it goes back to our lack of identity too. But someone sent me this article from NPR News a minute ago, and it's called "There's a Growing Segregation in Millennial Wealth," right? And it kind of, although it's about millennial wealth and the wage gaps and all that, it speaks to that part of that conversation about where we're headed as a black populace, right? It starts off the article like a few years ago, as everyone focused incessantly on millennials, apparent obsession with avocado toast, a team of researchers at the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis got to work investigating something much more serious: millennial wealth. They found a typical millennial household as of 2016 had only about $28,000 in net worth, putting them 40% behind what previous generations had in wealth at the same age in inflation-adjusted terms. The data suggested we millennials were becoming the lost generations, destined to be poorer than the generations that preceded us. Now, that's just the first paragraph, but be clear. This is NPR, and the focus is white millennials. You understand what I'm saying? So white people are 40% behind other white people.
Where we at?
Where you think we are, bro?
Yeah.
Right? And getting towards the end of the article, they start to address this a little bit. It says, but the most disturbing finding in their data concerns black millennials. While the typical white millennial family has about $88,000 in wealth, the typical black millennial family has only about $5,000 in wealth. It gets even worse when you look at the trends. While white millennial families made huge strides between 2016 and 2019, and they now lag previous generations of white families by only 5% between 2007, Obama years, and 2019. However, black millennials fell further and further behind. Not just compared with white millennials, but compared with previous generations of black Americans. Think about that.
You're going this way.
That's horrible.
We're going this way.
Right.
Starting with a 2-term black president.
While white millennials trailed the wealth of previous generations of white Americans by only 5%, black millennials trailed previous generations of black Americans by 52%, right? The typical black millennial has $5,700 less in net worth than counterparts of previous generations. Now, this is starting from zero because we ain't never had no goddamn money. Now, you $5,000 less than me. You understand what I'm saying? And I was already at zero. So I was probably at negative.
Nothing from nothing.
I was at negative 5,700 at that age. And now you at negative 11,
right, 11,200. Right.
Whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's incredibly shocking because, now this is where it gets interesting. That's incredibly shocking because black Americans have made great progress in terms of political representation and other measures, but it doesn't seem to be translating into wealth gain, Kent says. Man, let me tell you.
Tell us too.
The message is in what's not being said. And it's interesting because I was just having this conversation with my little man on my bike ride back home. We got to talking about politics and its value and how it works. And he was asking me questions, which was abnormal for my little man about politics. And he was specifically asking, like, man, isn't the very nature of a politician's job to be a servant of the people?
That's what they're there for.
I said, in theory, it is, right? But in practice,
that's not what happens. No,
you know what I mean. And I thought about that in context to the Black Chicago that I experienced versus the Black Chicago that he's experiencing. And I gotta add context because my daddy was one of these guys in Chicago, right? I was in the final call at 7 years old. The minister knew me by my first name. You know what I mean? I was in Operation Push on Saturday. I was in these spaces. I knew these people. You know, Vernon Jarrett was in my neighborhood. You know, I had a wealth of exposure to a certain class of black leadership in Chicago as a young kid, right? It kind of established me in that world. And simultaneously, my son has that same opportunity. You know, he's had sit-down conversations with the minister already before. He's met the Jacksons. I got a network. You know what I mean? But I always look at that from my lens and not his lens.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And when I was coming up in that situation, I felt the power of them people. Okay. Right? It was no confusion about who these people are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There was a energy attached to just being in the room with some of them people. Right. Now, interestingly enough, when I introduced my son to the minister, I remember specifically him going back to school and telling his teachers, like, yeah, I know Minister Fairgun. Like, you know, I'm the man around this joint. Now, he had met several black dignitaries, per se, in the city of Chicago, never mentioned them to nobody.
Right.
But meeting the minister, he doubled back and was like, yeah, this is what it is, famo.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which was always intriguing to me.
Yeah, because other people know the minister. You know what I'm saying? Like, so some of these other names, as important as they are and as, you know, solidified as they are, their name don't ring a bell like the minister rings a bell. So when you a kid, like, yeah, I know somebody that all y'all know. You know what I'm saying? But not all y'all know of. You know what I mean?
Jesse have you still, though, don't you?
Okay. Yeah, you did say that. But, okay.
I don't know. Right? It's a few heavy hitters, though. And even beyond that, my son was alive when my father was passing away. So when you think about him living at Yenmont House, the people that was coming through them doors, it was a wide range of people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And he got exposed to a group of people that even I couldn't necessarily touch. You know, but none of them moved him per se like the minister moved him. You know? And just thinking about that from the perspective of us living in Washington Park, i.e. Bronzeville, i.e. Hyde Park, and what that traditionally has looked like for black leadership in Chicago. And he's not getting that experience. And I was just thinking about that in the conversation we was having, and it was like, I think the very nature of the difference is just like this article states. It says it's incredibly shocking because Black Americans have made great progress in terms of political representation and other measures, but it doesn't seem to translate into wealth gains.
Right.
It doesn't seem to translate into power because the context is different. Right. So yeah, we got a Black mayor, a Black female gay mayor.
Right.
We got Black chief of police. We can go down the line. Black state's attorney. You know, Black assistant governor. Black, you know,
county president.
Black.
Sure.
Right. Mm-hmm. But the representation of this generation politically versus the representation of the Black power elite of my generation is that their values and focus is different, and it looks like the milquetoast version of Black politics. Whereas in my generation, at least, and it's only from my perspective because it might have been different the generation before that, you know, but from my perspective, it was more of a Black power construct. You know what I mean? And you could just kind of feel that energy.
Yeah, 100%.
And that energy kind of elevated the group to have a different value set. You know, while now we got these people in position, and it's, you know, I don't want to say just collecting checks, but the way they govern is not, it's not focused on our community.
It's self-serving is what it is.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's self-serving. They are, you know, making alliances with their own self-interest in mind. It has nothing to do with the collective. It has nothing to do with garnering any real tangible power for the Black team, right? It's just about how can I position myself so I can comfortably stay here for 20, 30, 40 years and I can be cool. I ain't really trying to do shit for y'all, fam. Okay? And it's fine that y'all look at me and think I'm y'all, right? I ain't y'all, fam. We just got similar skin. I'm on some whole other shit. And the longer y'all don't recognize that, the better it is for me. Because I already got y'all in my pocket as a vote, and now I'm making these alliances over here to make sure that, hey, I get to be the Negro with access, so long as I don't really ask for shit. You know what I'm saying? For the people.
But it translates, though, right? So, you know, this is Illinois, right? This is a Democratic state. It is what it is, right? But I think the power elite or the those who were in the power elite of my youth kind of leveraged the Democratic Party for Black power. I think the difference today is that those Black faces in power today leverage the Democratic team for Democratic power. And I think that translates to the people as well. So we don't conversely look at it as Black power. We look at it as Democratic alliance.
Right. And
You know
what has
I mean?
that ever gotten us?
And we're not fully a part of that team. We don't reap the benefits in said way. So you get the Stop the Asian Hate bill, but they won't pass the George Floyd Policing Act.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So it's just interesting thinking about the dynamic, you know. And it's also interesting watching these people run from the minister's statement at DMX's funeral when the minister didn't really even. I was like, I'm rewinding this shit back and forth. Like, what? I'm trying to figure out where we got to the point where we got to run. Even I don't align myself with that thought process at all, but I know who you are.
But at least,
from your perspective,
I can't even understand why you doing it.
I can't understand why you running now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But now it's just the sheer affiliation with Black power.
Yeah.
Get your ass away from that.
Anybody who has the courage to stand up and speak truth to power and talk about Black shit in an authentic, unapologetic way, you are a contagion. I need to get away from you, period.
Yeah, it's disgusting,
right?
Bro.
Because what I'm trying to get to is in direct opposition of what you're talking about. And so that's what I'm saying. They've chosen their side. They've chosen their side. And it's like, okay, cool. Let it go. I don't even try to, like, I don't even want to pay it no attention. Like, go. Peace, fam. You want to bounce? Bounce. Like, I don't need you. I certainly can't use you no more. You know what I'm saying? So go on about your motherfucking business. You didn't make that choice. Go ahead.
But I think I don't know if that's acceptable.
We don't have that luxury, you saying?
We don't have that luxury. You know what I mean?
But what can we do?
Going back to the Dr. Umar on the Breakfast Club the other day, right? And him making his brash statements about Obama and then his brash statements about Biden and what he's done in the last 100 days. And I'm saying they wasn't even brash. They were just honest. That's
Right.
what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But then you read through the comments, and I think that's, somebody said that the comment section is who America really is. The comment section, and I agree with that. That's who America really is.
That's when people feel
you safe. You hiding your identity.
Right.
You behind a photograph and a
they
text.
feel safe to say exactly how they feel for real.
You walking in your purest level of courage, because otherwise you're a chump.
Yeah, you wouldn't say this to nobody face.
You wouldn't say this to nobody else. And I don't even mean that in just the negative, but in the comments that they were responding to the Umar with was like, I read them aloud on there. Right? Biden doesn't owe us nothing. I'm about me. And it's like the misconception of
we need to do for self. Why we expect him to do something? Because he's the fucking president.
Yeah, but that's part of doing for self. That's part of it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Make
sure you get what's due to you, fam. That's doing for self.
Yeah, legislation is why you live on 63rd Street, my G.
Hello.
Right, but you don't recognize it as such.
Right.
There's a reason why you live in the food desert.
Right.
Right. There's a reason why the curriculums in your schools don't look like the curriculums in the schools in the Naperville.
Right.
There's a reason, and it's legislative reasons.
Right.
Right. But when someone, and because you specifically and essentially elected that guy, right? You should have a say in which way he governs. But you've elected to not have a say in the way he governs. Like you've accepted not
getting played,
nothing.
fam.
Yeah.
Like you've accepted somebody just playing you. Like, and I say it all the time, but it's just no other walk of our society do we accept that, G. Like, other than politics, there's no other place where we accept that lack of return on our investment. I done invested my time, my money, my vote, whatever I've invested into you. And then I'm not getting what I expected back, and I just accept it again. Nowhere else is that okay, G. You don't go to a restaurant, order something, give them people your money, and they bring you back some whole other shit, and you just be cool with it? No. You send that thing back. You go off on the server, the manager, you write letters, you leave reviews, you do all kind of stuff.
So Adrian Anderson says, I don't pay any attention to Dr. Umar, but the clip I heard was thought-provoking, right? So that's another part that I think is very interesting, right? Because we don't really control or dominate media, right? I think we get in that positioning. We're kind of positioned at a disadvantage, and what happens is that maybe during the civil rights era they would have had to actually kill you. Now they just got to kill your character.
Yeah,
that's it, and you're done. We all run behind images.
Cancel culture, get away from him.
Right, but that's also why I talk about mythical sky daddy, right? And I think we kind of exalt our leadership to be like these godly figures, and they're just not. They're just humans with a different thought process, right? Probably the best leaders ever will be the most flawed people, in all honesty. You know what I mean? But we have this kind of belief system that you have to be above,
beyond reproach,
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again,
it's squeaky clean, like that's crazy.
And all I'm saying about the Umar conversation is, man, pay attention, because you should be paying attention to everything, but take what's valuable and leave what's not. You know what I mean? We don't have to blackball or shun specifically something. And the one thing about Umar that's always interesting to me, and people could say whatever the hell they want to say, right? He's self-made in that space. Yeah. Right? There is no TV channel. There is no politician. There is nobody backing him to say, this is the guy. Tamika Mallory's not. Right? My son is not. You go down the line for whoever the black representation in that space, Angela Rye is not. Charlemagne is not. They're all backed by white organizations. And you best believe, there's a quote from Angela Rye. They asked her about why didn't she ever get into politics? And her response was, it's just not enough money for me, right? So therein lies what her value set is, and I'm not saying nothing's wrong with that, right? But she's leveraging the paradigm to make capital. She just, by saying, hey, I ain't really for serving the people, just for the fuck of serving the people.
100%.
Right? So, and again, I'm not shunning that response, right? But as somebody who's internalizing or interpreting those messages, I got to understand that this person is coming from a perspective that says this is the most valuable part of this equation. Right. And when you operate from that space, again, with all of them, I say, hey man, take what's valuable, leave the rest of that shit on the table. I ain't interested. But there's something to be said about somebody who's elevated to the level of stature where he's getting interviewed on the Breakfast Club 5 times a year without that backing, right? Just with a microphone in his voice. You know what I mean? And the people electing him. The people propelling him to be a larger voice, right? Not ABC, not NBC, not BT, not Viacom.
That's what
people.
That's what Dr. Hare was saying on the clip that we played from the Tavis Smiley.
There's something to be said about that.
The
man.
people decide if you are a leader or not.
Yeah,
not the other way around. But because the other way around is completely equipped with all the resources and all the backing of these major networks, and they're able to create the narrative. They're able to lift people up, and they're able to say, "Hey, this is the one." And because we haven't really identified anything for ourselves, we be like, okay, that's the one. Right? And so then we listen to people that don't really know. And then even when anybody steps out in opposition or just to question it, right? Or just to say, hey, how about we consider doing it this way? Somebody just mentioned Ice Cube. Like, soon as he like, yo, let's just chop it up and see what the man got to offer. Now we want to cancel him too? Beat it, fam.
But even to that point, right, I said the politicians of my generation leveraged the Democratic Party for their alignment to black power.
Yes.
Today's Democratic Party is about leveraging black people for the alignment to the Democratic Party.
Yes.
It's operating in reverse.
Yes.
So when Cube says, hey, man, let's question these
Chucks and
Democrats.
pearls.
Let's question these Democrats. What did the black community do? They questioned his blackness.
Yeah.
Like, if you ain't a Democrat, same thing Joe Biden said on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Hey, if you ain't voting for Joe, then you
ain't black.
You ain't black.
You gonna tell us we ain't black, fam?
Hold up, fam. You out of line, bruh.
Way out of line.
But he's not. Because the masses of us are in line with that thought process. And that's the sad part.
That's why he still got elected.
Yeah, that's the sad part, bro.
That's why he still got elected.
Yeah, it's an interesting paradigm that we in, man, and I don't know the answers at this point. But I'm getting more intrigued with how warped the twilight zone of understanding that we live in is.
It's deep, G. It's really really deep, but it's I don't know, G. I don't know what the answers are. Like, I don't know how to respond to some of this stuff no more. Like, cause it's like whatever approach you talk about taking, it's like, do we have the backing of our own people to even be able to launch an assault in any way, shape, or form, right? Whatever it may look like. Do we even have the backing on our own team to be able to do that? Do we even have the unity, you know what I'm saying, at the upper levels of our team, whomever that is? Can they come to some agreements and be able to, like, formulate a plan of action that we can execute effectively? I don't even think so.
No, it's no question about it. We don't have the backing.
No.
It's not even an argument. No question about it.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, is how do you get there? Right? And how do you get there in the by the requirements of the board in which we're playing on? Right? And I think that's where the conversations get stifled.
Because you got to play the game as it is.
No, you don't. And that's the part that we don't recognize. Right? So I said this about King in the I Have a Dream speech, right? Now, oftentimes, if you read the I Have a Dream speech, I Have a Dream is not written in the speech, right? So he brings I Have a Dream off the cuff. Maybe it was some godly inspiration. I don't know, but it wasn't written down. That wasn't part of the plan, right? And I always attach the I Have a Dream quote to maybe King recognized that you got to see beyond the confines of this paradigm, right? So the dream context is like, it's a dream. You could do whatever the fuck you want in the dream.
Reality, but we could do some other shit.
Yeah,
bro.
this ain't in the dream. You can fly.
Facts.
In our reality, you can't, right?
Facts.
But you can create whatever paradigm you want to create, and you just got to have the audacity to do so.
That's it.
Right? You just have to have the audacity to do so. Now, again, with that audacity comes backlash, right? There's going to be pushback to your audacity.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, even the minister, right? The minister is audacious, and the pushback has been his whole career, right? The white structure, the white power structure saying, hey, this anti-Semite, shut him off.
Right.
Cut him off.
Right.
Take him off.
Right.
Relinquish this. Quiet this message.
Right.
Right? So again, the differences between my experience and your experience. Right. I grew up in a time where the minister was on Donahue. That's daytime TV, fam.
Yes, indeed.
Right?
Yes, indeed.
That's daytime TV.
It's the audacity of the minister for me, G. It's his audacity.
But put in perspective, from being broadcast on daytime TV to having your social media banned, right? So what happens is marketing, imaging, and messaging dictates behavior.
Absolutely.
So now we remove all of these kind of, man, I'm on a 30-day ban right now from Facebook.
Yes, you are.
Right? And I can't, if I'm moving the way I'm moving, pretty soon I'm not going to have a Facebook. You know what I mean? It just kind of is what it is, right? And I'm not on Facebook on some drill rapper shit.
Right.
Yeah, I ain't killing the ops. I ain't on some
no.
FBITCHs. I ain't on that.
Why would we ban you for that, sir? That is perfectly aligned with the agenda.
That's fine.
That's the Lord's work right there.
The Lord's work right there.
Well, you gonna ban you for that?
Yeah, that's the Lord's work.
All this pro-black shit you talking, that's a problem.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is because we're so ingratiated and tuned in to their media, we've elicited or picked up and adapted to, assimilated within their idea structures, which is always why I say we don't got no real black people out here. It's a bunch of dark-skinned white people out here. So now, getting to the king thing. Those of us who are not stifled in that paradigm of being a dark-skinned white person, we got to be audacious in thought, experience, and action, right? And that audacity might be dangerous, but that is the only answer. It's audacity. It's gumption, bro. You got to have nuts as big as King Kong and just do it like Nike say.
Period.
Whatever that is.
Period.
You know,
Period.
Just do it, you know? And I think that just do it part of it, just like imaging and messaging dictates behavior, when you just do it, it will elicit a level of attention where people will gravitate to you and fall behind. But you got to, again, Tyrone, the homie from Chicago, right? Throwing the bricks through the Asian nail salon. Now, that was a whole community of people that was like, this nigga's ignorant.
The sisters wouldn't even move.
Sisters wouldn't even get out the chair.
Okay.
But you cannot deny the fact that him hurling them bricks through that window, which was an audacious move, put the spotlight and the conversation on him. It put attention on him. Now, how he leverages that attention. I've seen some rewards that he's reaped from that attention.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? Now, I don't necessarily align myself with all that Tyrone's doing.
Got you.
You know what I mean? But again, it's the audaciousness of the act that propelled him to be a part of the Chicago conversation, if nothing else.
Yeah, it was very audacious of him to do that. I saluted it, and I still do. Interestingly, though, a year later, there's a bill for stopping Asian hate. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's because when he did the shit, everybody wasn't like, okay, cool, we ain't rocking with these motherfuckers. We want all of them out of our community. They just keep pushing. And then a year later, they flip it on us. Say, oh, black people are attacking Asians all over the place. What? Like, what? Y'all attack us every single day as we try to give y'all money. Okay? We pay y'all to attack us. Okay, please be rude to me.
It's crazy.
It's bananas, dog. But it is exactly what we do. And far be it for me to tell somebody what to do with their bread. If you want to go pay somebody $100 to be rude to your ass, go right ahead. Go right ahead. As for me and mine, what are black people at? I need a manicure and a pedicure or whatever it's going to be. That's crazy.
So Nyla says, interesting. Damon John says his stepdad was Jewish. To explain his lack of intent to insult, I'm curious what he meant by Jewish. Black Jewish people or the other. Do you have any awareness of Damon John's connections to a Jewish, to the Jewish community? I would assume she wanted to say. I don't know nothing about Damon John. Nothing. Yeah, other than he made FUBU, I don't know too much about dude. I know he's on the TV show with Mark Cuban, the where they give money to entrepreneurs, like Shark Tank. But I don't know Damon John's history. But again, I watched that speech. Right, there was no disparagement of the Jewish community.
Oh, he the one that's running from the minister?
He's one of them. Okay. It was more than him, though.
Okay, cool.
But he exalted Jesus in the conversation. I don't know where they're getting to the point of him making any anti-Semitic remarks, specifically in this comment, right? And even if you do the history, see, this is the thing, man. I had this conversation with Maze the other night when they was talking about what black men need to do about the black community around a little sister. And they brought up this statement about that Malcolm said in the 60s when Malcolm said that the black woman is the most disrespected human being on the planet Earth, right? And, you know, at 1960, whatever, when Malcolm made that statement, I'm rocking. I'm rocking. I would 100% agree. But in 2021, I got a different opinion, right? I got a different opinion. And there's data and facts and metrics attached to that opinion.
Yeah, but they're never going to overpower opinions and emotions.
But this is important, though.
I know,
right? And in that conversation, I articulated that very clearly that this is how I feel about it. This is the difference, right? And I'm not making a judgment, and I'm not blaming. I'm just explaining, right? The game is continually being played, right? And if the game is total annihilation, then it's going to move from stage to stage. It's going to be different stuff happening at different time points. It just is what it is, right? If we're in a fight and you black my eye, that might be step one.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you trying to kill me, that's not the end of the game.
No,
you got to do some more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at this point, I say humble opinion, even in the way I design the language to speak about this, I find myself dumbing down to not be offensive. Like I was just about to say, in my humble opinion. But it's not no humble opinion. It ain't a humble opinion because it ain't an opinion.
These are facts.
These are facts. All you got to do is look at the data and understand the metrics. The black man is at the bottom. He's the last on the totem pole. And I'm only saying this in context of the conversation because you can, in this medium which we're in, we can see direct responses from the listeners. Right? And you can see when people agree or disagree. So I said that on the show the other night, and there was some backlash from that statement.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And then I had to double back and say, look, man, I'm not blaming.
Right.
That's not what this is. This is just an explanation.
Right.
Right? But we've attached ourselves
an observation,
to ideas and beliefs, and they become religious to us. You know what I'm saying? I got to stay here because this is what's comfortable, right? But in reality, man, information is fluid.
You can move.
You got to move because information is moving.
Right.
It changes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I just said when we opened the show,
right,
my hip been hurting for a year and a half.
Right.
I changed my diet.
Right.
My hip don't hurt no more.
You got some new information.
It's some new information, different outcomes.
Right.
Period.
Right.
It's always changing. Before dealing with Sadiq, I was already scheduling surgery options. Right? Shit that I don't want to do at all.
If it wasn't COVID, you probably would already had it.
If it wasn't for COVID, I'd have done it. And I just scared to go into the night. I don't like going into no hospitals.
Yeah.
Right? But Sadiq comes along with different information. Hey, look at this now. Whole different conversation.
All the information is up out of there.
Information is powerful, though. Right? Information is power. Right? And I was fluid and open to hear what Sadiq had to say. You got to be fluid and open.
Right.
Because that's where the power lies.
No, but we just like to be comfortable in our own thought and what I think is right and what I think is true. I was having this conversation. I went live on Instagram last night randomly for about, I don't know, for nothing. But I ended up having a good conversation with a friend of mine. But one of the points I was making was that when you talk about, debate, like people aren't really, they debate you about this thing like from right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not coming at you like I'm right, you wrong, right? I'm just telling you what this actually looks like and then giving you different perspectives on it. You ain't got to, you know what I'm saying? We don't got to do this, but people want to be right so bad. Like you want to be right. I just want to find the right answer. And that's not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You want to be right from the standpoint of whatever you came in this conversation at, you want to be right on that. And regardless of whatever information that we're able to present throughout this conversation, you are going to stick to that because you want to be right. It's like, can we find the right answer or you want to be right? And that ain't the same thing. But if I want to be right and I want to say, well, no, this group is actually the most, unprotected or attacked group, then you can present all the evidence in the world to the contrary. But I've already decided, where I'm going to be. I've chosen my side already. And evidence be damned, I ain't moving.
Yeah, it's a religion at that point.
It is.
It is, right? Think about the isms. Racism. I got to believe this to make my truth acceptable. Feminism. I got to. So even racism about power. Feminism is about power. None of that shit is about equality. Don't fool yourself, people. Right? When you attach that ism, it's about power. right? I'm not asking to be equal to no man. That's not what feminism is asking. Just read it. It's not asking that. It's saying I want mine, and mine should dominate somebody's, right? It's the ism, but it becomes a religion. It becomes a religion, and if you're not fluid in the information, you can't attach yourself to nothing really, bro. It gotta always be fluid.
Nah, you gotta be open to learning and evolving, and it may cause you to shift your thought on some things.
It should cause you to shift. Right? Growth is imperative. It should. What I thought, if look, what's the Bible quote? If I thought like I thought at this age, and I still think like this at this age, then I've wasted all the years in between.
Right.
You wasting your time, fam. This shit is, as you grow, you gonna learn.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, right? Me and my son was having a conversation the other day. It was an interesting day yesterday because I don't talk to Eric this way. You know what I mean? I guess he was just in the mood. You know what I mean? But we got to talking about he was going deep into money, which was interesting to me. Like he had a lot of interest in who was the wealthiest person in America. You know, and what do they do to get wealth, and how they get this wealth, and this, that, and third. And we had this conversation because he's into sports.
Escapism, I like that one.
Right, he's definitely into sports. But he was talking about, man, LeBron this and the basketball players with their wealth. And I said, well, man, you could look at it like that. I was like, but there's 17 black billionaires in all of the world, you know. And I was like, and how many of them same conversation we have here, how many of them 17s can you name? And he goes into 3 because he only really knows athletes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And maybe one artist, Kanye, and that's only because he made news the last couple of days. And I said, so if you can only name 3 and it's 17, is the wealth that you're really interested in? And if you can only name, even if you could name fully the 17 black ones, could you name 10% of the 17,000 white ones? And what they did? And I was just having this conversation, like thinking differently about industry. I said, who makes the zipper? You know what I'm saying?
That's like I'm
Who
telling
makes
you.
the zipper, bro?
Yeah.
Who puts the plastic on the end of your shoestring?
Yes.
That's the industry.
That's the stuff that's the money.
What's YKK on your zipper mean?
That's the money.
We laughing.
No, I'm serious.
But what, you know what I'm saying? Think about that.
No,
Right?
that's the thing.
LeBron money don't compare, homie.
Nah.
And this dude, while he be standing in front of the crib right now, you wouldn't know who he was.
Who makes something that everybody has? You know what I'm saying? I make zippers, fam. It's like when we was talking about them people who own wood or own the color blue.
Slim said isms should be wasms.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Slim is hilarious. Adrian says, 2 had a discussion with his son on capitalism. I would have loved to have heard that.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
But it's a slow walk, right? Because I was just glad he was talking to me about something other than what we usually talk about. You know what I mean? So he's becoming a man and finding his way, you know? But man, you couldn't tell me between, let's say, I grew up in an interesting paradigm, right? My dad was a black businessman in this city that mattered in regards to stature, not in regards to accumulating wealth. Right? In regards to status, he was one of them guys. But I lived in that house. We ain't had no money. You know what I mean? Like, really no money. For you to be seen in the light that you were seen in, we shouldn't have to heat the house or not have heat in the house. You know what I mean? Not judging my father, it just played out interestingly. You know what I mean? So, on one hand, I got to see you move through these kind of status conversations. Other hand, I got to see, you know, what it look like on the block, because it's really the block.
Doesn't that become a value conversation?
It's beautiful, right? Because you get to gain appreciation for humanity instead of these false tropes, right? I recognize that, yeah, we can move through this circle with these elite black people, but truthfully, man, these elite black people is kind of the assholes, right? And these dudes on the block here who really ain't got nothing to give will give you their last just because they love you. And for me, I just had a very different value set. You know what I mean? And I saw it up front and up close, right? My sister's in the same house, but she didn't engage my father in the same way, so she didn't get the same experience. You know what I mean? But that opened up a wealth of ideas within me to see the humanity in people, and I think that's lacking. I don't think we see the humanity in people. We put the value, we attach value to those people by who, what other people see them as. You know what I mean? And it confuses the lexicon for the duration of your life, right? And that's why I say our value systems are so goddamn warped. The only value really in this whole journey is love, bro. That's it, right? And even in the context of the conversation I was having with my son last night about capitalism, I said, let me ask you something. I said, let's say you become, I don't know, the most premier athlete ever to walk the planet Earth.
Sure.
Right? And you make all this bread, right? And I say Zay and some of your other homies is still all your other homies.
Right.
Right, and y'all riding the wave all the way to the top. I said, how do you think your relationship with Zay and them changes? Or does it change at all? He was like, no, it don't change. I said, are they billionaires too? He was like, even if I was just the only billionaire, he was like, it wouldn't change. I said, you think so? I said, how would Zay and them, I said, what could you do if you had $1 billion? You know, he was like, man, I can do whatever I wanted to. It's like, true. I said, what would Zay and them be able to do with you? And he was like, well, anything they wanted to do. I said, well, who would be fronting the bill for that? And he was like, me. And I said, do you think somebody who's having all them experiences is going to relate to you authentically? And he was like, yeah. I said, well, if you got mad at Zay.
Which one of them will tell you no about some shit?
Right. I said, if you got mad at Zay, and because you was angry at Zay, you had the opportunity to cut him off from that lifestyle he was living, you think he would ever allow you to get mad at him? I said, do you think it would be an authentic experience? Just basic conversation. And he was like, nah, you're right. It wouldn't be authentic. And he was like, and I would hate to be in that position where I couldn't really believe in my friends. And I said, yeah, it's a different way to think of it.
That's why you got to put them in position. And that is one thing that I appreciate about LeBron James. Like he put his partners from high school in position to make their own bread. And I think that matters. Like, cause now I still got the biggest plate, but everybody not eating off of it. You know what I'm saying? You actually building up your own plate. And so, yeah, I can still front this or front that, and I can still take you out here, and we can do big stuff like that. But all your own personal shit, you can handle that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you set up, right? So I think one of them is like a chef or something, and the other one, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they all got their stuff going on. And I think you got to be able to do that, right? If you're gonna be in that position and you want to maintain authentic relationships with your village or your inner circle, you got to be willing and able to put them in a space to where they can be self-sufficient. Otherwise, their very survival, at least in the lifestyle they've become accustomed to, is completely dependent upon them being in your good graces.
So She Raw on YouTube said, teach them how to think, not what to think. And that was the whole context of the conversation. That's the context of every conversation I have with my son. Right? You know, if you listen to the show, you know I don't have no reference point for religion. I don't rock with it. Right? I call God Mystery Sky Daddy.
Mythical Sky
Daddy on the show. Right? But for the first XYZ amount of years, my son went to a Christian school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So it's a constant contradiction.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm married to a woman who believes in that theory. You know what I mean? So he would come back to me with these God conversations, and I would say, what do you think? But that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
I'm a guidepost. I'm not here to think for you. You know what I mean? So when he brought up the conversation about capital and billionaires and the validity of having $1 billion, I just wanted him to consider every facet of it. And even to the context of what you were saying about LeBron, with him putting his people in position to make, a lot of capital too. That's one way to think of it. The other way to think of it is that ain't really the value asset. You having oxygen in your lungs is the value asset.
Right.
It's a change in thought.
Right.
Right? Not a change in class. It's a change in thought.
Right.
You having value, you having oxygen in your lungs
you matter
makes
you
you
here.
valuable.
Right.
Period. We ain't even got to go past that.
No.
Right? Not because of your class status. And that's what I'm saying. The paradigm in which I grew up in gave me kind of that at a very low level. Right? Because even the elite Black Chicago was probably $100,000 dude at that time. You know what I mean? But the heroin addict, car mechanic that was in my neighborhood was also family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could go to him and ask, hey, Emmy, let me hold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just that kind of thing. Somebody stole my bike. Hey, Alfred, they stole my bike. The street bum. I'll help you find it too. You know what I'm saying? It just was different relationships that made me find empathy and value. And it's true. I was riding down 95th Street the other day. Ran into, I didn't go say his name, but ran into one of the bums. I pulled up on him. Like, man, what's up with you? How you doing?
Stop saying bum.
You're right. You're right, though. You're right. I ain't argue with you when you're right.
Hey, Emmy, street bum.
Heroin addict.
That is hilarious, man.
My man, though, I love it.
No, for real, that type of stuff matters. But I think that we're able to see humanity in those types of people because we grew up around them, right? And so, me personally, some of them was in my family, like in my literal family. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
family.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, sure, you're a cluck. I understand that. But you're also my uncle.
I can't say bum, but you can say cluck.
Oh, cluck is in the dictionary.
No, it's not. It's not in the dictionary.
Yeah, you're that, but you also
my uncle who struggles from addiction.
Sure, but you're also, you're also my uncle. You know what I'm saying? And so I because I can see that humanity in you, then I'm also able to see it in everybody else who struggles with addiction as well, right? And so I'm able to understand that, right? Like, sure, like you deal with this and you deal with that, but you my auntie, and I love the fuck out you, and so it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I see that in everybody else too, man. One of the things I've really been wanting to do for a couple of years, and I got to figure out how to get moving on this thing, is finding a way to get a community garage that is operated by the street mechanics, specifically the ones that be on 76 and Stony in that AutoZone. Because them dudes, get them a screwdriver and some duct tape, they'll build you a car, okay? Like, and they raw. I just want to figure out, like, how do I go about, like, getting a garage where, like, okay, it's like South Shore community mechanics, whatever the hell, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I don't validate people based off the same standards that other people get validated on. So you could be like, oh, he went to this or this school or this, and that's fine. And now he's a mechanic at the such and such car dealership. Okay, cool, good for him, right? Mm-hmm. I still think dude cold as hell on what he could do with it. You know what I'm saying? And so and then what's crazy about it is that they literally start to do things to kind of like eliminate people from the paradigm. So now, no matter, they nice with their hands with their cars and stuff, but now the cars ain't even about being nice with your hands. Somebody gonna fix your car in a motherfucking Polo from a computer now. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody under that motherfucker. Hook it up to a computer, run a diagnostic test, troubleshoot some shit, and then get that car back out of here.
Yeah. Sends you the code from the computer, and you back up and running.
Exactly. My man on 76 can't do that. And that ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. It's
But again, just like the West Side ID that Mace talks about, right, where you can go down to the local liquor store and get you an ID, was essentially what the West Side represents in a lot of ways, man. And I'm not saying in general, I don't want this to sound negative like the West Side, but they've created like a sub culture for real. Right? And we laugh at that. And in a lot of ways, maybe the West Side is a little more downtrodden than the South Side per se. Mm-hmm. But that demon is coming for all of us.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? So in a lot of ways, where you see it as a negative, they might be
on to something.
Yeah, they might be first responders, right? They might just be early adapters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They adapting out of necessity. They adapted early to what's coming for everybody. You're going to have a subculture to survive, right? You're not going to be able to access what you've been able to access before. We confused about life in America, right? This shit ain't normal in context to the world, right? In America, the middle class is what creates the America that we all deem to value. The middle class creates it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As the middle class gets eliminated, you're going to get introduced to life from around the rest of the world. There's always wealthy people wherever you go. There's wealthy and elite classes wherever you go. It's just not no middle ground. It's the uber wealthy and the uber poor.
That's it.
Right? And what happens is that the uber wealthy do what they do everywhere. It's kind of a consistent theme. And the uber poor do what they need to do to survive. And that might entail a whole bunch of different shit. Yeah. You go to Jamaica, the Chris Rock joke, right? You fly into Jamaica and you get on this goddamn bus ride to wherever that resort is, and it's looking like you riding through the depths of hell.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Like, is that a dead baby?
Is that a dead baby? And then you get to the resort and be like, oh, Jamaica's nice.
They give you a margarita. Hey, love it here.
Jamaica's nice.
He said you instantly forget about the fact that you just drove through the worst poverty you've ever seen.
You forget all about that shit, right?
None of people matter, fam.
Right, because it's like like that. It's legitimately once you cross this barrier of all of this illicit uber poverty, it's this illicit uber wealth. It is no gradual translation into the wealth or gradual translation into the poverty.
And there.
It's here is the barrier. You niggas over here or you people over here. And we over here. Right? America's walking that line. Capitalism is failing. We're in the midst of watching capitalists fail. Right? You see all these discussions. Matter of fact, the fact that we having discussions about reparations, it's because it don't matter no more. Period. The fact that we had a black president, it's because it don't matter no more. The fact that you had the crazy president, it's because it don't matter no more. We've sucked all the juice out this fruit. Now we trying to discard this shit. You want it, you can have it.
Right.
That's what this is.
We kill people off. We can let people go into extreme poverty. We can do whatever.
We don't give a shit.
Right.
This is a wrap. When you hear Jeff Bezos having conversations about creating colonies on Mars,
that's right.
Bruh.
It's over. We didn't suck this joint dry, fam.
It's over. We don't give a shit.
We didn't take everything this was worth.
When we have, Sadiq was talking about this too, like what was the value of the pandemic? And he was talking about how much repair the pandemic did in 1 year in regards to all of the resources that we've damaged over, the humans have damaged over their time of consumption.
Oh, yeah.
Right? In a matter of a year and a half, it did something like 100 and something years of repair by itself.
Just by our asses not being able to go outside and fuck with the world.
Just by the shit.
It just started to self-heal.
It's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Self-heal. But
Marquise, what up, bro?
Going back to how industry works, right? I'm gonna keep fucking until I bust. I'm planning to take it all. That's how capitalism works.
I'm getting all of
right?
it, fam.
And going back to the vile, cold nature of capitalism, right? It's not concerned about its partner.
No,
I don't care if you feel good in this situation. I'm just getting mine.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
And I'm gonna get mine to ain't no more to get.
Period.
Right? And again, that's the partner is us.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Those at the bottom of the conversation.
I'm just getting mine off of you. That's it. And I don't really care what happens to you in this situation. You feel me? Like, and so
once I bust, I'm up.
If I can manufacture a reason to shut down everything that you thought you knew, meanwhile I begin to make more wealth than people have ever seen. It's a good move for me. It's an absolute good move for me. And so yeah, was the pandemic manufactured? Was this virus manufactured? I don't fucking know. Right? Do I believe it could have been? Absolutely. Either way, they found a way to capitalize off of it. And so if every store is going to be shut down and you can't go nowhere, but I can deliver shit to your front door, everybody shopping with me for a year and a half. So I go from 40 billion to 140 billion overnight.
So
now I can fund my trip to Mars.
The way TV on YouTube says capitalism isn't falling down, it's doing what it's intended to do.
Absolutely.
People from communist systems ain't running here for no reason. I'm gonna still disagree.
It eats itself every 90 to 100 years.
I'm gonna disagree.
Okay.
It is falling down. Right? It is falling down. And in context, he said people from communist systems ain't running here for no reason.
Oh, no. The capitalism, its design can't withstand itself. It eats itself. Every 90 to 100 years, it eats itself, right? And so we had the Great Depression, and now you in another one, right? Like that's where we at with it. The thing has to collapse. It by its design, it's not made to withstand much longer than that. People get too damn greedy, and it goes a fucking way.
But greed itself,
right?
So what's the movie Wall Street with Gordon Gekko, 1980s, right? There's a scene in the movie where Gordon Gekko was inside of a courtroom or a trading floor. I don't remember because it was the 80s. God damn it, give me a break.
Sure, go ahead.
Right? But he says something. He says, man, I don't innovate shit.
I don't make nothing.
I don't make nothing. I don't improve on no designs. I just own. And in that construct of just owning, I'm here to take it all. Fuck your invention. Fuck your creativity. Fuck your new way of doing things. I just want to
selling your ass ideas, fam.
I just want to own greed is good.
Greed is good.
Greed is good, right? So there's variations of capitalism. Let's be clear. It's not a one-shot deal.
Sure.
Right? There's variations of it. But in this specific variation, and from the context of the conversation that we're having, capitalism is failing. Period. And it's failing us. That's what I started the conversation by saying. What we're about to experience is what the rest of the world has been experiencing for a very long time. The elimination of that middle class is happening. And black people can talk all the wishful, hopeful, magical Negro shit they want to.
Right.
Right? The data says that the median net worth of a dual income earning black household is under $60,000. The data says for all of Americans, not black people, that only 10% of us make $100,000, which is not a whole heap of money. It's not. Right? The data says your ass is in trouble. All that magical Negro shit you think, and black girl magic and black boy Joe and all that goofball shit ain't gonna save you from that reality.
The irony of that, G, is that while that is an actual fact, you simultaneously have a culture that is absolutely enthralled with trying to make people believe that they have so much fucking money and shit. It's crazy. You like social media, every day people just wake up and try to make everybody else think that they doing better than them. And it's like, this is stupid, fam. Everybody is out here just getting by, except 1% or 10% of the population. Everybody else is struggling to get by. You know what I'm saying? Comfortable, just doing just enough, whatever it is. Like, but we in this society where we kind of trying to convince everybody that we got it. So not only do I not have it, but I got to keep up this facade like I do got it. And so that's self-defeating like a motherfucker. I don't got it, and then the little bit I do got, I got to spend that to try to make you think I do got it. Like, that's crazy, fam.
So somebody, hold on, I moved real quick, right? Jacob Israel says, what can we experience worse than what we've experienced over the last 400 years? Are you kidding? And I just wanted to put this in context. A slave was an asset. I don't need to say anything else beyond that.
I heard you.
A slave was an asset. I don't give a fuck how grueling and diminishing and deprived and vitriol and all the other words you can attach to that you think slavery was. Understand that the slave himself was an asset. What happens when you're not an asset?
I heard you. That's why we say all the
You
time.
understand? So, I don't know what happens worse, but I just want you to consider the difference in context of the conversation.
I think on Monday we were saying that who lives a better life than poor people on the outside of prison? People on the inside of prison.
It's a different experience.
They modern day slaves.
It's a different experience.
You're an asset now, right? Once we get you behind this wall, you're an asset now.
Hey, slave was an asset. You can see it however you want to see it.
So yeah, I'm gonna make sure you eat 3 times a day.
You can see it.
I'll make sure you got a bed.
Hey, look, you can have a home and you can own that motherfucker and you can let the grass grow wild, but it's still your home.
Yeah, I'll make sure you got health care. Motherfuckers outside don't got health care, but inside, make sure you healthy. You good.
It could be a very different experience. That is all I'm saying.
Heard you, man. We got to take a break. When we come back, man, I saw the homie Marquise come up in here, man. I was with him yesterday, too, out at the baseball game, and I got to tell you something that went down. It was absolutely, you know what? It wasn't hilarious. It was indicative of the immense pressure that people are under and how that thing is primed and ready to spontaneously combust at any given moment, even in a park full of children, full of women, at a 12-year-old baseball game. That pressure can swell up and explode out of nowhere. It happened last night at the baseball game. I'll tell you about that on the other side of the break. As I said what I said, Herb and 2 till 3. We'll be right back.
WIIFTBP. WIIFTBP. Media's just for you and me. WIIFTBP. Media's just for you and me.
to the most dangerous show in the morning.
The Fraternal Order of Police. It is the President, John J. Catanzara Jr.
We all saw the Anjanette Young video.
Naturally, when someone hears, I didn't do it, you got the wrong place, you just discard it. You have an obligation to make sure that the rest of the place that you're doing a search warrant on is secure.
Okay, so you used the word naturally. And when you watch that video, naturally, a natural reaction would have been to provide her with some coverage for her naked body.
Have you ever been to police?
And so
have you ever been to police?
Let me finish my question. So a natural reaction was not what we saw from those white police officers.
A natural police reaction is to secure the scene.
So a natural police reaction is different from a natural
Well, we're talking about police. We're not talking about you going into a building. We're talking about the police going into a building.
Hence why in the beginning of the question, I related it to training. Are police officers trained to not see black people as human? And so police training would make them naturally react to see me as an animal?
I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer because that's just an ignorant statement to make. They went in there looking for an offender
who was not there.
Do you know that until you searched the whole place?
They did. They searched, and she stood there naked.
And at that point,
after they had the scene secure, she still stood there naked.
Again, I already conceded the fact that they could have did a better job covering her up, but her race had nothing to do with it, and you're going to keep implying it. I'm going to keep telling you you're absolutely wrong.
Let me ask you a question. Of training? Is it a lack of proper training?
No.
Keep telling you got the wrong place. You got the wrong place.
The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. We will kill you for our woman.
Deep Brooks exclusive. Hey, I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears for Chicago. I pray we don't get lost in all our sorrow. I say I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears for Chicago. We don't know if we gon' let us see tomorrow. No. 52 wounded, 10 murdered in a weekend. Homicides on women are increasing. 12 blinking at us for no reason. Feel like we going off the deep end. They still ain't found Kierico. Reported missing about a year ago. And she was pregnant with a little one. Her family praying for a miracle. Taxi van, Kanika ain't get no justice. Where the energy they have for Jussie Smollett? I done heard every theory, but where the suspect? Ain't no luck, yeah. I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears. I'm crying real tears for Chicago. I pray we don't get lost in all our sorrow. I say I'm crying real tears.
Welcome back. We are live from inside the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. His name is Tu. My name is Herb. This is I Said What I Said. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of this conversation. As always, your input is valued. It is appreciated. Continue to add your perspective. It's always welcome here, whatever it may be. Shout out to everybody.
I don't know. We should keep saying that. I don't know if your perspective is always welcome. Sometimes your perspective is just stupid.
It's stupid, but you can say it. you can say dumb shit if you want, but I mean, whatever. You're welcome to do it. Shout out to everybody that's watching on YouTube. Shout out to everybody that is watching on Facebook. We truly, truly appreciate each and every one of y'all. Shout out to Ron, man. He's in there. Ron, what you doing in there, bro?
Counting the minutes.
See, I don't know why I even act. You know what I'm saying?
That's why it's time to go, man.
That's why he's a terrible producer. He ain't paying no attention to the shit we do. You know, when Sonya's here, I'm gonna just tell you, right? We get off.
So whack.
Whoa. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So that conversation we was having about replacing Ron this week, we gonna do it. We gonna do it. We gonna do that. We gonna do it.
Y'all show is whack.
I tried to fight for him. He just solidified his. You know.
Y'all show is whack.
Yeah, we gonna get rid of Ron.
Damn, son. That's crazy.
I'm just.
So, last night, go to a baseball game, 12-year-old baseball game. I won't say the team, but y'all might figure it out anyway. Either way, I go to the baseball game, and it's a beautiful day out there, and everybody's out there. It's dozens of kids, dozens of ladies, some older folks are out there. It's a kids' baseball game in a park. And I saw one of the most unnecessary tirades I've ever seen, G. Like, in the middle of the game, right? My homeboy's team, they are batting, right? So their coach is out, and he's at third base. He's coaching third base. They have a kid on third base. That kid ends up getting picked off of third base, right? He got picked off of third base, and somebody in the stands, right, was telling another person in the stands that, yo, what happened? He's like, what happened? He's like, oh, kid got picked off of third base. The coach blew it, right? Now, you know how the baseball is. Third base is right here. The bleachers and stands are like right there, right? So the coach hears this man say that the coach blew it. When I tell you that he lost his fucking mind, dog, he went ape shit in the middle of this game for like 10 minutes. Profanity-laced rant, just attacking this dude, right? This dude is like 70 years old. The man in the stands, he's at least 70 years old. And after he told the person that he told what happened, he never responded to the coach at all. He never said another word to entice this coach to keep going on. But the coach went off, yelling to the top of his lungs, all kind of profane stuff, calling this man all out his name, MF this, get him the F out of here, he of this, he of that, in front of all of these children, women, and elders for like 10 fucking minutes in the middle of the baseball game. The end ain't even over. Umpire got to come down there, try to calm him down. Other coaches got to come down there, try to calm him down. All of the men out there, the things trying to like, bro, we like, calm down. Like, go back and coach the game. Like, it's you still in the middle of the game. Like, this man didn't even say nothing back to you. He said what he said, and then that's it. And then I've never seen nobody explode like this. But what was apparent in that to me was, this is something else, G. This is some internal shit that you need to deal with, fam. There's no fucking way that you are that mad at this man for saying that little thing that you want to go this kind of crazy for 10 minutes in front of all these kids, women, and elders. Like, for what, fam? It was like, I can't even explain to y'all how crazy it was, G. Like, he went the fuck off for no reason. And it's like, man, what type of pressure are you under? What kind of stress are you under to where any small thing will set you off like that, to where you don't even care about where you at, who's around? You had a kid's baseball game and you they fucking coach. Why are you doing this, fam? But the pressure was like, just, I don't know what he's dealing with. But whatever it is, he needs to address it, because he can't be walking around a ticking time bomb like that to go off on a 70-year-old man because he said you blew a call. Motherfucker, you did blow the call.
Yeah.
Like, you got the kid picked off. Whatever.
But you got that coach.
Or you let the kid get himself picked off.
You got the coach doing what he do, losing his mind, right? Then you got the little, I can't think of the guy's name, but the 18-year-old, 20-year-old boy who was one of the shooters in the Jaslyn Adams case. Same kind of instance, right? There's no self-control, right?
They found them?
They found one dude, yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, so they found one of them, but it's the same energy. It's an energy that's kind of circular at this point. But, you know, we got these buzzwords like mental health, and then we don't dig deep enough into why we are suffering from these levels of depression and
seems like you know who I'm talking about, Q.
Schizophrenia and craziness in our community, right? But it goes back to what, in my mind, again, that there's different arguments for different ways, right? You can argue this from a plethora of perspectives. But, you know, when I was in college, I used to work at one of these homes for, like, mentally retarded people. I don't know if they had that down in Southern, but in these, like, small towns, and I'm not laughing at it, but it's just weird to me. But there's, like, a whole lot of industry for, like, these, like, homes for people who suffer from mental disabilities. And essentially a lot of college students work in them to survive and get through college. You know what I mean? And I worked in one. And I was having a conversation with one of the doctors one day, and just again.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely a prominent job.
Yeah, all the black people in my college worked at them kind of places. You doing fast food or this. Yeah. You know what I mean? And most people who would do that did it because you could do it overnight. Right. So you could go there really and go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what
for
I mean?
Sure.
But I was talking to one of them doctors one day, and he was like, man, people don't really grasp this. He was like, but a lot of mental retardation is mostly environmental. This is just a conversation with a doctor. You can fact check it. I don't know if it's real or not. But I always thought that was interesting because I thought it was more of a genetic kind of thing. You know what I mean? But you think about it in our environment. You know what I mean? You think about the level of insanity that percolates in our environment.
It's almost a miracle to be sane.
It's almost a miracle
to still be in your right mind. To still be in your right mind.
Yeah, it's almost a miracle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You think about the depths of poverty and how the value set in America is set up.
And even that is
you think about the lack of identity.
Relative when you talk about right mind.
Yeah. You think about the lack of identity, you know what I mean? The black folks have. You know what I mean? You think about the disruption of the family unit. You just go down the line, right? And you start to get people acting out emotionally, and they're not stable emotionally, right? Because there's no thought involved in this shit, and there's nothing to lose because life has already been determined in their mind as a failure. Like hope doesn't exist, right? Hope doesn't exist. So it's like, man, what I got to lose?
Facts.
I don't even know if what I got to lose is even the conversation. It might just be impulsive. You know what I'm saying? Like, even what I got to lose might not even be a question you're asking yourself at this point. It's really just acting off instinct and impulse. You know what I mean? And that shit is detrimental.
Yeah, we don't have a North Star. Nothing is guiding our actions or our interactions with each other, right? It's just like, yeah, everybody just kind of like floating around in this, perpetual state of depression and stress. And it's like, whatever I do is whatever I do, right? And so if I shoot up a McDonald's drive-thru, or if I go off on a 70-year-old man at a 12-year-old baseball game, like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me I'm wrong, right? And it's like, you are wrong, though, bro. Like, the game, way after this game is over, he's still tight about this. Like, and I'm like, yo, calm down, G. Like, but again, that it wasn't about what happened there, right? What I'm saying is that it's reflective of whatever stressors that he's under in his real life. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree.
Yeah,
and I'm saying that's across the board. Though. Like we just don't give it it's just credit,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
I was having a conversation with one of my cousins this morning, talking about another one of my cousins, and I ain't gonna say no names because everybody be mad at me. You know what I mean? And early on in life, like, we would make judgments of one of our elder cousins. I mean, he just don't work hard enough to get to the places we deemed he should be at.
Sure.
Right? And that was from a young perspective. Then I look back and I say to myself, that boy had mastered a certain amount of crafts by the time we was teenagers. So to say that he don't work hard enough is flat out bullshit. That's not true, because you don't become a master of those crafts
without working at
it. Right. You know what I mean? But then you look at it and he's in a 2-bedroom house with 15 people. You know what I mean? And it just wasn't no anchors or no structure or it was nobody there to kind of push him any way or any direction.
No guidance.
You know? But it was 15 people living in a 2-bedroom crib.
Yeah.
Right? And I think about how normalized that kind of living situation is in our communities. Like, the vast majority of my homies lived in cribs where it was overpopulated and people were sleeping on couches or floors, or you just made do.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And because I'm from that world, I've normalized that as the normal experience. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't have no judgments of them people coming from them environments because we all came from that environment. So it wasn't no big deal. But when you think about it in context or in comparison to the rest of the world, like I told somebody in this conversation, I was like, man, I had that experience when I went to Beasley, because Beasley was, again, the black elite.
For sure.
Right? And the way the system is set up and the way the system is structured, what's the 50 line? Losers lose, winners win. We ain't got to pretend. You know what I mean? But what defines a winner is really, in a lot of instances, in the majority of instances, is just where you start. You know what I mean? You're not necessarily better than, you're not necessarily putting in more work, you're not necessarily more intellectual, you're not more dedicated to XYZ craft. You just came into the world by no measure of your own, positioned better than the guy next to you. And because of that, you reap the benefits of that positioning. You know what I mean? And going back to the conversation about the article about millennials having less wealth, going back to the concept of us moving into this fourth industrial wave and AI taking over and you not being an asset as a human, what the fuck happens, bro? That's a scary sight.
It is.
And it's not even a scary sight. It's a sight that we're seeing right now. What the fuck happens is I'm from 63rd and you from 65th.
Right.
Or 64th.
Right.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The walls close in, right? It used to be, I'm from Princeton Park and you from XYZ.
Right.
At least I had a whole community.
Right.
Now it's you from this block and I'm from the next block.
Yeah.
The walls are closing in.
Right.
And you confusing yourself. I think in the context of conversation we had with Mays too, he was like, black people moving away from the hood because they moving away from the violence. And in my mind, that's not what it is. They moving away from the hood because they moving away from blackness. But the thing is, you don't got nowhere to run, bro.
Yeah.
Ain't nowhere to run.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And when you get in certain spaces, you have conversations with certain people who choose to live in these spaces outside of black neighborhoods. You hear them say like stuff like, another black family moved in. I hope they not. I want to work. Like, okay, cool, right? I heard you, right? Donald just asked a question. He said, "Is stress still the number one killer of black men?" And I think it's a great question. And I think that for me, whether we're talking about directly or indirectly, I would say the answer is yes. Like those stressors are what leads to the outcomes that we see, right? So whether it's like stress, like actually killing you in terms of your physical health and all of that, or it's the stress that is, causing you to make reckless decisions like shoot up a damn McDonald's driveway or go off on a elder at a kid's game. You know what I'm saying? Like those stressors are absolutely killing us. Like you're gonna have a fucking brain aneurysm at a 12-year-old baseball game.
Yeah, at whatever level. It's the conversation Salim had about John Henryism, right? It's no matter the perspective that you're coming from, we killing ourselves to survive. Think about that. The insanity of it. Whatever side of the spectrum you're on. Whew. We're killing ourselves to survive.
What song is that? Why am I dying to live when I'm just living to die?
Yeah, I don't know that one. What's that?
I can't.
Berry Blue shit?
I feel like it was from one of some. It might have been like on a soundtrack or something like that. I don't remember, but
I think it's why am I fighting to live if I'm just living to die.
Yeah. It was on one of the movies or something. It was a soundtrack, but it was a pretty big song at some point. I don't remember. Whatever. But yeah, that's the reality, G.
It's the reality, but again, going back to King's dream, it's time for us to begin to dream differently. It's to dream with some gumption, right? To dream with some conscious level of having authority over our own destinies.
Agreed,
right?
but then when you're
dreaming with the belief that we can supersede said systems, dreaming with the clarity of not being afraid to step outside of that box of that system. That is the only answer, right? Again, my dream ends in physical war at this point, and I've said that several times, right? But you get backlash from that all the time, and I again, if you just study wars throughout history, there was a bunch of wars where the smaller demographic was not supposed to win, and they did. It's about who wants it more. That's it.
Agreed. It becomes all the more challenging though when everyone who you see that is willing to step up and dream with that level of audacity, dream with that level of courage, is shunned. Had that people turn their backs on them and they aren't supported. And so it's like, well, I saw what they did to Farrakhan. Why the hell would I why would I do that? Why would I step out and do that? Ain't like black people gonna support me.
I'm gonna have to find She Raw on YouTube. She says stress is the number one killer of an erection. She's gonna have to come back on Friday.
Wow.
That's a Friday.
That's true though.
I know it's true.
It's very, very true. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got a clear mind. You can't sex is mental. Like I know it's physical, but it's really mental. And
to the point you just made today, I shunned. That's true. But again, G, right? There's another quote. I can't say it verbatim, so I know I'm finna mess this up.
All good.
But it's like, it was always a small group of people like crazy people who was able to change the world, because you damn near got to be crazy to change the world.
To think that you can do some of this shit.
It's just that simple.
Gotta be out your mind, fam.
A small group of dedicated into something. I don't know how it goes.
Sure.
Right? But we talk about the Cuban Revolution all the time, right? Started with 80. After night one, it was 17. Right? And them 17 took to the hills and they built the army of farmers and they took over the Cuban Gestapo. Right? It's why you wear it's why y'all honor Che Guevara today. Outside of Jay-Z mentioned his name, because y'all probably don't know who the fuck Che Guevara really is. Right?
Revolutionary Che Guevara. Right?
Yeah, y'all know Che through Jay's line, but it was Che and Castro. It was Che really, because Che was out his fucking mind.
Right.
Brilliant and crazy all at the same time.
He was about that.
Yeah. Right, but it took that level of dedication to the victory, right? And I mean that sense in regards to how he wielded his crazy, and in regards to how he wielded his genius.
Yeah, because and that becomes the question at hand. Like, who's out of their fucking mind here? Is it him or is it everybody else? You know what I'm saying? Because I would look at this and say, like, you out your mind. Like, you want to assimilate to this stupid ass system that it has never done shit for us, that only seeks to destroy us and annihilate us. I think you crazy, right? You think I'm crazy because I'm saying we can overthrow this shit. I think you crazy. You know what I'm saying? But again, what do the masses think? And that
you don't need the masses, and that's the part of the dynamic. What I'm saying, like, you don't need the masses. The masses, what's the 5% construct, right? 85% is blind, deaf, and dumb. You know what I mean? And I don't necessarily disagree with that, right? We think about the concept of patriotism in the last 10 years, right? And I'm saying that specifically on purpose. Patriotism in the last 10 years.
Sure.
And the conviction and with those who consider themselves patriots, how they wield whatever that feeling or that emotion is. And what they're really saying is, I like whiteness the way whiteness has traditionally been, right? And I see that whiteness is being threatened, right? But they don't really grasp and understand who and what's threatening whiteness. Because there's other white folks that's threatening even your level of whiteness.
Absolutely.
Right? But because of their dedication to this idea, going back to the isms and
they the only people who could threaten your whiteness.
Right. But going back to the construct of isms and how we attach to that shit like it's a religion, right? That patriotism, i.e., has become a religion. So these motherfuckers is willing and dedicated to go to war for an idea and a belief against anybody that they see as a opposition.
Any enemy of America, foreign and domestic. That is the swear.
Any enemy of America. But they don't even recognize who the enemy is. Going back to the 85%, right? So that 1% that is dictating and controlling them people and wielding the existence they're currently experiencing, they're not a threat to them people. Because they think they're on the same team. So you don't need the masses.
No.
You need a message that dominates and controls the masses. That's it. A position that dominates and controls the masses.
But that's what I'm saying when we talk about I'm talking about like the agenda in terms of, how this thing is viewed and through what lens it's viewed, and who do we dictate as being out of their mind, right? The masses get to dictate that and control that type of agenda in terms of, we think these motherfuckers crazy. Okay, cool. And then that is going to be the prevailing thought that kind of, permeates throughout a given society. And now you got to be committed and stick to it anyway and be like, okay, I understand that. And we still going to proceed anyway. And then you can find yourself victorious on the other end of it. But you got to understand that the vast majority of people are going to look at you like you out your mind.
Hey, fuck them.
Period.
Right. I read, I'm an astrology guy, right? I think the universe is important. I think it works. I think astrology is really the truth of mythical Scott Daddy. Right. And just the other day, the horoscope was like, man, you got to really recognize what you are attached to and why you should not be attached to it, i.e. going back to that concept of fluidness, right? None of this shit is forever. Even oxygen in your lungs, it's not forever, right? So what is your mission? Why are you here? And what does it take to fulfill that mission? And be fluid in accepting whatever that might be. Allow the universe to guide it. But have the fluidity to not be stuck to no one idea. Right, and if we really go through the understanding of science, and energy doesn't die, so you might just transfer to another spiritual plane and have a whole different kind of experience. But you just got to be fluid in accepting that, and just going through the construct of death. Right, I've seen a bunch of people die in my life, man, and I told you this story before. Like when my old man was passing. Like although I've seen a lot of people die, nobody that close to me. So I was concerned about like how this shit gonna play out emotionally with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm reading all the books and this, that, and the third, and there's this expectation of how that transition's supposed to go. But because I think that man lived his purpose That transition ain't go like none of the shit I'd seen before, nor none of the shit that the books talked about. But I think because he had lived his purpose.
It was complete.
It was done. The journey was over. It's just time to move to the next plane.
Our journey is over here for the day. It is time to move to the next plane. Y'all make sure y'all hang out here on the network this evening starting at 6 o'clock. Chris the Critic, then In the Zone with Brian Foster, followed by Week Whole Wednesday with Reese and Toy. We'll be hanging out here on the network this evening. Then y'all make sure y'all get up early tomorrow at 6 a.m. for the Mace Jackson Show. Stick around for all of the rest of the programming that will be featured on the network tomorrow. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us this afternoon. We greatly, greatly appreciate each and every one of you, wherever you tuned in from. We hope that you are well, and we appreciate you hanging out with us. Your input was valued. It was definitely appreciated. We will be back here Friday at 1 p.m. for Ron Rilla and Toussaint Werner. My name is Herb Howard. Y'all be good to each other. Peace.
Salam alaikum.
WIIFTBP. What's up, good people? You're listening to I Said What I Said with Toussaint Werner.